It's time once again for the Coach Dave Jacobs Show. It's sponsored by Sinclair Foods, and we bring in Coach Jacobs, winning 2 in a row at home, including the homecoming game versus Waterloo this past Friday night. Come from behind game, won it in the late closing seconds, and that makes for an exciting win.
Oh, no question. It was, it was a nice climax to the week, with the winning how we did in front of a big crowd in our homecoming game. So was real excited for our team and for our school and community.
I guess it's probably the most dramatic win since you've been here.
Well, maybe one of the most dramatic I've ever had. I've coached a lot of football games, and this one I told the boys afterwards was right up there. That it's just one of those games you won't forget.
The offense had over 330 passing yards, only 1 turnover in the game, and that was a fumble. The special teams played well. Why was the game so close at the end?
Well, when you play somebody like Waterloo, that they're all about ball control and keeping the ball away from you and shortening the game, basically. And when they had the ball with 6 minutes to go and a chance to take the lead, that fits right into what they want to do. And we knew they were a good team. They're physical and they run hard, and we kind of knew it was going to be a tough game, and they executed well on their last drive, and they gave us a little bit too much time at the end, I guess.
I wanted to talk about that last drive for them, and something that a lot of people probably won't look at as being one of the key plays of the game. But to me, it really stands out. It was, I think they were first down and goal. They had been moving the ball, running time off the clock, keeping it on the ground primarily. But they attempted a pass in the end zone, and it played right into Jerseyville's hands with an incompletion. It stopped the clock, and probably 40 seconds of time would have been ticking off if they would have run a play rather than used a pass play. Would you have used a timeout there if they had run the game, kept running the ball?
We talked about that, but we had a chance to pick it off too. That was really gutsy on their part, but they saw something that they were going to try, and it's really out of characteristic for them. So maybe he was just trying to catch us by surprise. But our DBs made a good play on it, and it did help us.
That brings me to my next topic. Now, it's probably not a sequence in which you would have done this, but if it were a tied game and if it was a tie game and they were going for the win, have you in your past, or would you consider letting them score so you could get the ball back?
No. I have confidence in our defense, and we played well, and that's. I'm not really good at letting anybody score, so I think that sends a bad message to your defense, and we just let the game play out as it would.
That being said, people have done that in the past.
No question. It is a good strategy, but you got to have an awful lot of confidence that your guys are going to go down and score, and I just have a hard time just relinquishing anything to anybody.
When you had a minute 15 left, did you have a set sequence of plays that you wanted to call?
No, it was really a feeling. It caught us off guard too when they came down and scored. It's when there's 75 seconds left in the ball game, and we got a decent return. I think we started at the 29, it's just kind of a feeling to see, are they going to play a prevent defense, or are they going to keep playing? That first play was a middle screen, and I was kind of hoping that, that since they took the lead, they'd be all excited and kind of put their ears back a little bit and come get us. And that's exactly what they did, and we caught them in a little running back screen, and, Lolo's got close to 20 yards, so he got a good chunk on that first play, and the second play, it was right in Kyle's hands, and it was so close. And
he I don't know if he just overran it just a little bit, but he had to torque his body just such a way that he just couldn't come down with it. It was close.
Yeah, it was. It was a well thrown ball. I don't know if he just misjudged it or what, but he kind of had to lean back and just went right off his shoulder pads, and then we had the little out to Crick, and he got up the sideline and got us a chunk, and we put Obi to the field on that that second to the last play of the drive, and I don't know why, but they played man coverage with no help, and we went right to him, and Billy threw it wasn't a great ball, but he gave Kyle a chance, and Kyle made a great play on it, and ended up getting knocked out at the 4.
It was actually, I would consider it underthrown, and then Kyle made the adjustment, and the DBs did not.
Right. I mean, that's just, Kyle being an athlete, he did that on an earlier touchdown, and really on the earlier touchdown, Obi was supposed to run a comeback, but we say that if you blow by the guy, don't come back, just throw your hand up and keep running, and that's what happened on one of his touchdowns on the far sideline, that he kept going through his hand up, and Billy chucked it down there, and he made another good play. So
that was one of I can count at least 2 or 3 catches where our receiver had to outjump their defensive back, and they hauled it in all 3 times. I know that on that Kyle Obertino touchdown, and then 2 other pass plays to Varble and Kimball, they were able to grab the ball away, out-jumping the defender.
Well, we've got big, strong, physical receivers. I mean, they're all basketball kids, and that's one of our weapons, and that's something we've talked with Billy about is, don't try to lead our guys so much. I mean, he's had some balls that were overthrown, and so just put it on them. Let them use their big bodies and use basketball terms, box the guy out and make the play. And Billy, I thought Billy really did a good job of doing that this week, and his footwork was a lot better. And again, our receivers made some good plays.
Yeah, 330 passing yards and 3 more touchdowns through the air, and 19 for the season now. So that's a pretty good number. Talking about the relationship between the quarterback and the receivers, this was a different combination last year when Mitch Kimball threw in, and the player that stands out was Jordan Witt, when he would really throw the ball low to the ground and a lot of sliding catches for first down yardage, and I haven't really seen that at all from the receivers or the quarterback throwing low this year.
Well, I mean, Jake's 6'4", 6'5", don't make him 5'2", put that thing up, and normal DBs are, usually 5'8" to, 6 foot. So, we try to put the ball up where they can catch it and not and run after the catch, and it's a lot easier if the ball's up for them. And Billy is doing a better job of giving us a chance, and but we still had some drop balls that killed drives. I mean, we still had plenty of those, so we're trying to eliminate those as we go.
16 first downs despite the limited possessions in the game. That's a big number.
Yeah, and I don't know what the time of possession was, but I'm sure. I mean, they had a lot longer than we did, and that's what they want, and we kind of played right into that.
Conversely, running the football, I think the team total was something like 9 yards on 11 carries or something like that, but the 4 when you needed it at the end was there for Austin Lolos.
Yeah, and I mean, if our spread offense philosophy is, if they're going to play 7 on the run, they're going to play 7 guys. Well, that means they have one more guy than we have on the run. So because we have 5 linemen and a running back, that's 6, and that means we're going to throw, and that's what teams are doing to us. They're playing 7 in the box to take away Lolos and then making us throw. Well, we've been pretty fortunate with our receivers. Yeah. But talking about that last play with Lolos, I wish everybody could have been in that last huddle on the 4-yard line. I'm going to get a little emotional here, but, balls on the 4-yard line, and, we took a timeout. And there was just an awesome feeling in that huddle. There were tears in the guys' eyes. They're shaking. I mean, I could have gave it to a lineman and he'd have ran it in. But there was no way that they were going to deny us. And it was just one of those spiritual markers in my career. I'll never forget that huddle and what it meant for those kids to come back like that and win their senior homecoming game. Especially, our seniors, that's something that they'll never forget.
Yeah, and he went in untouched. Everybody needed what they needed to do, and the Panthers came out victorious, and the crowd, I mean, you had fans, you had to wave away for a while because you had to shake hands in the middle of the field, but the fans poured onto the field, and it was an emotional night.
No question. And what was really cool on film was when Lolo scored, that end zone was just lined with kids. and you could just see the excitement of them and everybody. And then, after the game, we had fans coming from both ends, and our athletic director's trying to keep them back so we can shake hands. But what a great moment for the kids and our program and for our community to do something like that on our homecoming game.
28-24, the final. Jersey improves to 4-2 overall, 2-1 in Mississippi Valley Conference play. And for Waterloo, they have their first loss in the Mississippi Valley Conference. And we're going to talk more about the matchup with Triad in just a few weeks. But Highland's still at the top of the leaderboard in the Mississippi Valley Conference. But Triad's a team that has surprised some folks with 2 wins in conference.
Yeah, and they've won 2 in a row, and they started off 0-4, and they've got some confidence. I'm not sure if we'll be their homecoming game, but they're kind of fighting for their lives over there. So I'm sure. I mean, the offenses are very similar between Triad and Waterloo, except Triad is more of an option team. So we have to be more disciplined and playing assignment football and taking away their fullback and it's something that we get excited about getting our kids ready for.
We'll talk more about the Triad Knights in just a little bit in our preview of the upcoming game, but we're in the middle part of the season, and I wanted to get an update from Coach Jacobs on what the status is on the other Panther teams in the program, and we'll start at the 7th grade level. 7th and 8th grade teams, how are they doing this year?
They're doing well. I mean, they're very competitive, and even we'll go all the way down to Junior Panthers. I mean, I'm hearing good reports on what they're doing, and as this being the 3rd year that the kids have experience, and they can tell that they're getting better as they come through. And our 7th grade numbers are down a little bit, but they won a big game here a couple weeks ago. Beat a good Edwardsville team, and our 8th grade is very talented. They've only lost 1 game. They lost a heartbreaker last week, and I think that's a real special group that's coming through. So we're excited about the program. I mean, you can see at all levels that kids are getting better, and moving up to our freshmen. I mean, they really struggled in playing junior high football, and I mean they've really stepped up and they've won 2 or 3 ball games and have competed so much better. It really helps our program putting together the public and private schools, making sure the kids are playing together. We're not a big enough town to have two different teams, and I've really sensed a big difference in our Junior Panthers and in our Illini, and then especially now with our our freshmen and those guys all playing together. It makes a big difference. Our JV is doing very well. They're 2-3 or 3-2, and being real competitive, and everybody's getting to play. So you can see the entire program, how it's just gradually improving at all levels, and that's what you want. You want something that's going to happen gradual, and you can see the kids get better as they come through. And we're excited about the program.
Yeah, Coach Skinner talks about having such a patchwork team at the JV level. I guess it's not all about wins and losses, especially when you got a couple freshmen and a lot of sophomores and a few juniors all playing and not able to practice together all the time, but forced to play together.
We've actually been pretty fortunate. We haven't moved any freshmen up to play JV. We're keeping that group together. Now, our sophomore numbers are pretty light. I mean, we've got 13 or 14 sophomores, but we're filtering in juniors that are behind really good seniors that aren't getting to play a whole lot in the varsity games because they've been close. And that's what the lower levels are for, is to get kids playing experience, and the kids have bought into that. It used to be where, if you got a junior playing JV, they're disappointed, and it's not that. I mean, there's no bad level of football. The important thing is that they're all playing. And when they're ready to be varsity football players, that's up to them, and they have to get that experience, and if they gives them a chance to shine in those JV games and get coach's attention and wait for their opportunity.
We're going to wish all of those teams good luck in the closing weeks of the regular season. It's hard to believe that there's just 2 more Mississippi Valley Conference games coming up. And for the Jersey Panthers, they play their final road Mississippi Valley Conference game Friday night. It's Jersey on the road at Troy, taking on the Triad Knights. We'll talk about it after this.
Sinclair Foods is now making its one-of-a-kind Panther Burger available to everyone just in time for the fall sports season, and they are sure you're going to love them. But don't stop there. From their quality meats, fresh bakery, delicious deli with Champ's Chicken, you can't go wrong by stopping at Sinclair's. Sinclair Foods, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you.
The Coach Dave Jacobs Show is brought to you by Sinclair Foods. As we take a look at the final road Mississippi Valley Conference game, it's a matchup against a team that started 0-4, the Triad Knights, but a team that's been very competitive in the 2 wins that they've had in Mississippi Valley Conference play. Their lone loss to Highland, their arch rival, and of course we know what Highland's been able to do this year. But they've got 2 wins in the Valley, and the most recent win was a 32-27 victory over Mascoutah, a game which Mascoutah had the early lead, and then Triad came back and primarily used the running game, and they've got about 2 or 3 different weapons.
Yeah, they're like I said, they're very similar to Waterloo, except they're more of an option-oriented team. They haven't thrown very much. I think maybe 13 or 14 times. So, again, it's one of those games that they're going to want to play keep away. We have to play good assignment football, and I think they've got a lot of confidence now, winning 2 in a row, especially in the conference, and it's going to be very similar, I believe, as this past week against Waterloo.
Running an option type, defending an option type team, do you have defenders that spy the quarterback?
It's all assignment football. I mean, we're going to try to give them different looks up front and different blitzes. Because they're a midline team, a veer team, which means they're going to read a down lineman whether to give the ball to the fullback or not. So whatever schemes that we are going to put in is we got to take the fullback away, and we have to have a fullback player, we have to have a quarterback player, we have to have a pitch player on every play. And that's the strategy, and the fun part is not giving them the same reads and looks every play to keep them uncomfortable and to confuse blocking assignments, but also to confuse the quarterback a little bit on whether he should give it or keep it.
And when, conversely, their offense, I guess their fullback is the key at all times. If they're just going to keep giving it that fullback if he keeps getting yards.
Yeah, that's the first thing football 101, truck stop coaching. If you're playing an option team, you have to take away the fullback. And if you don't, then it's a long day.
Does that mean you have personnel changes if you don't have as many guys? If they're not going to throw the ball, you almost have to force them to throw the ball. Will you make personnel changes to bring in different groups?
Well, we've talked about playing a lot more. our offensive linemen, they don't play a lot of D-line, and this would be a week that we would, bring some of our bigger guys in, on first and second down to match up with their offensive line and be able to take a fullback away. And we're going to experiment with that kind of stuff. But I know Coach Bishop and Coach Metzler, they really like the personnel that we have right now on defense, and we're really getting close to platooning, which is helping keeping guys fresh. We've only got a couple guys now that are going both ways, and that really helps us towards the end of the game.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. A player like Kyle Albertino and Austin Turman, Whitey doesn't really play both ways, but players like that are not the big, strong guys like a Varble or a Shively or a Kimball, that they might get some more breathers, I guess, in a situation like this.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we're looking for, and really, since we are in week 7 of the season, the kids pretty much know what's going on, and they can. Our second group can come in and spell those guys when needed, but we've got a few guys that we got to have out there all the time, and Luke Shively's one of those guys, and Varble's one of those guys, but we're working on backups for them so we can spell them, and hopefully it'll work out.
Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. Our coverage begins about 6:35 on Friday night. It's on the road in Troy as Jersey plays Triad. I've saved this to last, and I don't know how much time we'll spend on it, but a lot of people were in the stands jeering at the officials who seemed to have a difficult time this past Friday night trying to do simple math. We'll walk the listeners through what happened. The Panthers had the ball backed up at around their own 20-yard line or so. First down and 10, penalized 5 yards. Makes it 1st and 15. Second down play was an incomplete pass, so it was 2nd and 15. And then there was a pass interference call. A lot of people think at the high school level it's an automatic first down. It's not.
It's not.
But there is a 15-yard penalty. So if it was 2nd and 15, if you mark it off 15 yards, it's a first down, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be, but I mean, it was, I think both pass interference penalties were 16 yards, and I don't know how they come up with 16. I mean, they really struggled. They had a hard time making a decision. I was waiting for the Jeopardy music to start.
Well, but what was their explanation to you?
They really didn't have one. I mean, they went back and forth. They were really lost. I mean, they just. It wasn't just that. I mean, the coin toss took forever. I mean, I knew we were in trouble. I mean, I had to say, we need to get back inside. But, I don't know how many officials timeouts we had, and it seemed to happen when we were on offense, and that, we'd get a chunk and we'd sit there and wait. And, it's frustrating. Our guys are ready to go. And one time it did kill one of our drives. And then, little things like, they only had one guy under the goalposts on extra points and field goals, and the guy's leaning over trying to see if it's good, or I don't know. It was not good.
On the second pass interference play, the Panthers were on defense. They were backed up looking at like a 3rd and 33. They heaved the ball down the field, and there's a pass interference call. It would have been about 4th and 10, and initially they declined the penalty, but somehow they were able to retract that and take the mark off.
Right, and he came over. I mean, I'm as you can imagine, a little excited at that point because I was thinking it's 4th down, and he came over and explained to me that he gave the other team the wrong options. So since he gave them the wrong options, they retracted and let them. I don't know. It was wild. It was just one of them deals. I mean, the game could have been over a lot earlier, but we had so many discussions and officials timeouts and those kinds of things that it was a shame. It took away from a really good game.
Yeah, there was just a lot of consternation in the amongst the fans in the press box, and everybody was wondering how can they make it so difficult? And I was trying to figure it out. I know my son Luke came home. He had a different theory than what I had. My theory was on that first pass interference that they marked off the first 5-yard penalty too far, and
right.
then when they did the 15 yards, they were somehow short and didn't know how to solve the problem.
Right, they gave him 16 yards. That's what I meant. They marked it off 16, and it shouldn't have been. It was 15, like you're saying, and they did that twice. I mean, I don't know, but God love them, but it was frustrating.
Let's hope for a veteran crew in Triad at Triad High School on Friday night. Let's try to make it another Mississippi Valley Conference win on Friday.
Yeah, we'd like to keep the streak alive, and we win one more, we become playoff eligible, which is important to our guys, and that's what our focus is going to be.
And then after that, you focus on a better seed come playoff time. This has been the Coach Dave Jacobs Show, brought to you by Sinclair Foods on WJBM.